Hello and welcome, dear friends. Welcome back to Mind Sprout Books, the channel where we share knowledge for holistic self-development through great books. Today, I'd like to share a book with you called The Untethered Soul, with the subtitle, The Journey Beyond Yourself. Perhaps when you read the title, The Untethered Soul, you might think of something abstract, not grounded in reality or solid science. However, those who delve deeper will discover it to be a true source of inspiration, opening the door to enlightenment. Enlightenment isn't just a word I use to describe my personal experience after reading it. It's also what I hope everyone can experience with me. If you feel like your life is a scratched record, stuck on repeat, where the once beautiful melody of life has become an unbearable noise trapping you inside, filled with pain, sorrow, sadness, and anxiety you can't escape, then Michael A. Singer, a world-renowned yoga and meditation master, will show you that this is your very opportunity to ask questions, reflect, and achieve awareness. Only when you are aware can you untangle the knots in your mind, break free from the vague, endless cycle of suffering, and truly understand who you are. From there, your life can become light and clear, growing richer and continuously evolving. Michael A. Singer is someone who has undergone this awakening process himself. In 1971, while pursuing his doctorate in economics, he had a sudden moment of awareness about the self, the ego, within him. This moment of enlightenment opened up a new world for him. Since then, Singer has founded a yoga and meditation center where he helps people awaken and experience a truly free and abundant life. With the desire to help even more people, he has also written other valuable works like The Surrender Experiment and more. Now let's dive into this book together to recognize and remove the barriers that bind our freedom, unleash our infinite inner power, and learn what it truly means to live an awakened life. Have you ever asked yourself a question like this? Wondered who you truly are? Ever since I was a child, I've had this question. Why is it that whenever we do anything, there are so many different voices echoing in our heads? For instance, one voice might complain, "This class is so boring, I really don't want to be here." But another voice immediately chimes in with encouragement, "No, keep going, or you'll disappoint your parents." In countless other situations, it's as if there are two tiny people bickering inside our minds. So, who is the real me? And furthermore, if this inner voice is me, meaning I am the one speaking, then who is listening? Carrying this question with me as I grew up, I read widely across philosophy, psychology, sociology, and even religion. Gradually, the books gave me answers, and this book was one of them. The author says that the tiny people arguing in your head are not you. They are merely illusions created by the brain. The brain has constructed an alternate world for us, and most of our perceptions of the world come from these inner voices. In truth, from the moment you enter this physical world, you've had a companion with you at every moment, living in the same space as you. That constant companion is your brain. The author puts it beautifully. Your brain is used to helping you. And it's true, our dear friend is very enthusiastic about helping us. Unfortunately, this help is somewhat one-sided, because the brain loves to analyze and solve problems based on its own worldview. It believes that to solve your life's problems, you need to seek external support to become a better person. Furthermore, because it always wants the best for you, the brain has a second characteristic. It is never satisfied. Once one goal is achieved, it wants another. You buy a house, get a car, get married, your kids get into a good school. It seems like life should be problem-free, but no sooner have you achieved it all, the brain starts looking for trouble again, feeling that this isn't good enough, or that could be better. Thus, the brain is in a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. Because of this dissatisfaction, it often feeds you negativity and is quick to offer terrible advice and judgments. This place isn't right for you. That person isn't good to you. Don't do it. You're doing a terrible job. If you do it that way, your boss will definitely not like you. If you don't do this, no one will want to be your friend. When these negative voices arise, you surely want to kick this person out. But you can't, because that person is your brain. This is to say that most of us have lived with such a relentless stream of thought for so many years, with the image of a negative, complaining, critical, judgmental, and selfish person inside. Trying to solve our problems by seeking external solutions is not the path to enlightenment, because new troubles will always arise. The author emphasizes that this voice is not the real you. So, who are you really? Before we answer that, let's understand what prevents us from knowing our true selves. It's because human consciousness has the ability to focus, and it easily gets fixated on thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations. For example, if you have a headache, you'll feel like nothing else matters. Your entire consciousness will be centered on the pain. This is the process of focused consciousness. Or when you're watching a captivating movie, you lose awareness of your surroundings. You become immersed in the plot, swept away by the film's events. At this moment, your true self can easily disappear because the story is so compelling, so real. Watching a movie is just an example to help you visualize it. But in reality, when we step into this world, it's not so different from joining a play with an unknown ending. We are each born into different circumstances, raised in different environments and cultures. Gradually, a temporary, false self is formed based on these external factors. As we grow, we identify even more deeply with our professional roles, titles, and duties. I am a doctor. I am a factory worker. I am my child's mother. I am her husband. This process of identifying with characters can last a lifetime. Our connection to these roles and the plot of this movie deepens. This leads us to mistake this temporary character for our true self. You become so absorbed that the line between fiction and reality blurs. This gives rise to attachment and clinging to all your external experiences. Once you're bound by them, a single word, action, glance, or event that goes against your desires can make you sensitive and fragile. You are easily saddened, angered, hurt, defensive, and prone to comparison, fear, and anxiety over loss. Simply put, when your consciousness is swept away by the external material world, you think you are the one experiencing it all. In other words, you see yourself as the sum of your experiences. From there, you easily forget your true nature. The more you cling to external experiences, the further you drift from the truth, from the real person inside you. This is how we get lost, and it's what I've mentioned in many previous videos. Most people are heading in the wrong direction, unable to find their way home, and losing themselves in the process. So, how do you find your true self? The only way is to pull your consciousness out of this deep immersion in the temporary, false self and bring it back to your center. When does your consciousness return to the center? It happens when you realize that the voice in your head is not you. You are not the child from your past. You are not the personality your mind has imagined. You are not the labels and titles others have given you, whether in praise or criticism. This self is false. Your true self is the one who is there with the little voices talking in your head. That self is the one listening and observing all of their chatter. Do you know what the word yoga means? It means to create distance from your psychophysiological activities. It means you are the subject, the observer of all changing mental and physical activities, while everything in the external world is the object. The great yoga master Sadhguru teaches a meditation to help center the consciousness with a simple mantra: I am not this body. I am not this mind. Practicing meditation focused on this guiding thought will help you gradually bring your consciousness back to the center and activate the observer within. Once you become the observer, you become aware that there is a temporary self-perceiving issues from the external world. The observer is the subject, watching the temporary self as the object. For example, you have a feeling, I am very angry. At this point, you are aware that I am angry, but this is not yet a centered consciousness. A centered consciousness is when you realize that this arising anger belongs to the temporary self that is perceiving an external issue. You are simply the one standing aside, observing this anger. And what happens when you can't center your consciousness and become the observer? You get sucked into trying to solve the problem. Once you want to solve it, you are led by the ego again. Your consciousness gets lost in analysis and judgment based on dualistic thinking. This is right. That is wrong. This person is good. That person is bad. From there, many other emotions arise, and this is where suffering begins. But when you become aware that you are aware of a thought, your world is no longer a problem to be controlled. It simply becomes an object of your observation. This is truly wonderful, because nothing can shake or affect the observing self within you. At this point, you can see clearly without being swept away, and hear fully without being affected. It means that even if you hear many voices in your head, you can maintain inner peace without being disturbed. In reality, most of the time, the voices in our heads don't mean much and often just cause trouble. However, some of you might wonder, if these voices are meaningless, why do they exist? Psychologists suggest that these voices are merely a byproduct of releasing emotional energy. Just like a kettle whistles when water boils, when we are stressed, scared, or angry, the voices in our head become incredibly active and chatter even more. Additionally, these inner voices help us make sense of the external world, giving us a false sense of security. For instance, on a freezing winter day, the voice in your head might exclaim, "It's so cold, I can't take it anymore." But then another voice chimes in, "Hang in there, you'll be home in just a minute." This is the comfort our inner monologue provides. While it can't actually make the weather warmer, it can give us inner strength, motivating you to walk faster to get home. That's why the author says that humans are experts at creating an inner narrative, recreating the external world in our minds to create the illusion that we are in control, which helps us feel safe. But we must also recognize that the brain's constant chatter is really meant to create illusions, building a fragile wall between our soul and the harshness of reality. The power of illusion is ultimately limited. So, instead of pretending everything is fine and getting lost in it, we should open our eyes to see the truth and live from an awakened self, observing everything and tapping into the powerful, hidden strength within each of us. After the Buddha's enlightenment, he said, All sentient beings have the virtuous wisdom of the Tathagata, but they fail to attain it due to delusional thoughts and attachments. What are delusional thoughts and attachments? It is becoming too deeply immersed, being swept away by the external world. You cling to it, and so the whole world becomes your problem. The only way out now is to turn inward, awaken the observer, and live in a state of awareness. Only then can you find yourself again and experience a truly free life. To maintain a state of awareness, we also need to recognize a fundamental truth. Our journey into this world is a process of experiencing energy. So what does it mean to experience energy? First, let's understand what energy is. The author sees that everyone's life has two great mysteries. The first is the mystery of the self, which we just discussed. The second is the mystery of energy. Do you believe you have inner energy? Many people only believe in external energy, the energy that creates tangible things, but not in inner energy because it's invisible. That's why when we talk about energy, many people might think it's something mystical or esoteric that doesn't concern them. However, think about those times you felt down in the dumps, with no appetite, sick for days. Your body felt drained of energy. But then, you suddenly hear a piece of good news, and you can instantly jump up, feeling completely revitalized. In a short time, you go from exhausted to exhilarated, without any external energy boost. That magical force that helps you regain vitality in an instant is your inner energy. Therefore, to fully harness the wondrous power of energy, you first need to set aside any linguistic sensitivities and believe in its existence. Inner energy is essentially an invisible circulatory system. In yoga, it's called Shakti. In traditional Chinese medicine, it's Qi. And in the West, it's called spirit. Energy is never depleted. It isn't lost, but circulates within you. You'll find that practicing Shakti Yoga is about circulating this bioenergy, a subtle energy that flows through pathways much like the nervous system, but finer and not visible to the naked eye. Long-term practitioners of Qigong have a rosy complexion, deep breath, and a calm, cheerful disposition. This is because Qigong combines breathing with movements to circulate qi and blood throughout the body, balancing yin and yang and improving health and mood. And when you're feeling down, have you noticed how people often say to think more openly? Western philosophers and psychologists have long sought ways to help people change their mindset, attitude, and perspective on life, all with the goal of achieving a clear spirit, free from internal conflicts and entanglements. When you connect all these ideas, you'll see that the key to activating life's energy lies in one word: flow. Flow means that when energy comes in, it must be allowed to go out. When inner energy flows freely, the circulation stabilizes, and we achieve a state of balance. Please remember, the truth of life lies in balance. The process of consciously allowing our inner energy to flow, bringing our mental health into balance, is the experience of energy itself. As long as you keep your energy flowing, you will easily maintain a state of awareness. What blocks your energy is karma. The truth is, it's very difficult to maintain balance in this world. Once energy is blocked, all sorts of troubles, suffering, and illnesses arise. So what is it that obstructs the flow of energy? This relates to how the brain perceives things. Our psyche is an energy center. External events cannot directly penetrate our soul. When something happens, for example, someone criticizes you, hits you, or hurts you, The event itself cannot directly enter your soul. To enter, it must be converted into a form of energy. The physical body and the brain use the senses, eyes, ears, mouth, nose, to perceive events in the real world, then transform these perceptions into signals, energy, and emotions, which are transmitted through nerve impulses and appear as impressions in the mind. In other words, our perception of the outside world is actually a process of energy entering our body. This process should naturally be smooth. We live and enjoy the present moment. But when it comes to negative emotions like fear, anxiety, anger, sadness, shame, self-pity, blame, or envy, our soul begins to resist, refusing to let these energies flow through. At this point, these negative emotional energies, or what some books call low-frequency energies, will cause your energy circulation to become blocked. The author compares these emotional energies to thorns growing in your soul. Imagine being pricked by a thorn. Even the slightest touch sends pain shooting through you. What would you do? Typically, when it comes to the thorns that block our inner energy system, people choose to build a protective wall around them, not letting anyone or anything touch them. But by choosing to protect the thorn, you are also blocking the flow of energy, closing it off instead of letting it pass through. So let's see how we build these protections. First, many people protect their thorns by chasing the ego's expectations. For example, as a child, you were looked down upon for being poor and felt disrespected. From that day on, you were determined to succeed, gritting your teeth and doing whatever it took to gain face and be admired by others. But these efforts are actually just a way of protecting the thorn in your heart. This thorn creates an immense burden, leaving you able to do nothing but strive for others' respect. On the surface, it may seem like you are protecting the thorn well and don't even feel its presence. But in reality, the thorn is still there, and it has become your weakest point, yet it can dominate your entire life. The second way many people protect their thorns is through avoidance. There's an example in the book. You see many cars on the road and have no reaction because they are all ordinary. But you can't stand the sight of a blue Ford. Why? Because years ago, you saw your girlfriend kissing someone else in a blue Ford. This memory caused you deep psychological trauma. Every time you see that car, you either look away or feel upset for the rest of the day. I believe everyone has experienced this feeling. It might not be a blue car. That's just a symbol. But you might avoid certain things due to various painful memories. A city, a coffee shop, a particular food, a name, and so on. This is called karma. Karma can also be understood as impressions. As mentioned before, the process of energy entering the body is also the process of the brain perceiving the world, which manifests as impressions. Events that leave a deep mark on your mind are karma. Karma exists because you haven't awakened your true self. You haven't realized that you are merely the observer of all emotions and thoughts, and instead, you identify with them as the participant, clinging to all the impressions created by the brain. And once you cling, you block the flow of energy. So, what should we do? Bravely pull out the thorns that have blocked your energy by letting go. When emotional energy comes in, let go of your attachment to it and allow it to pass through gently. No matter what happens, I will not lose my temper, feel hurt, get anxious, or be afraid. I can accept it all. If you let go and take on the role of the observer, you will easily see that you have lost nothing. Therefore, there is nothing to fear. You know that your awakened self is just experiencing, watching energy come in and go out. maintaining this perfect balance. But if you don't let go, you will be trapped in a cycle of negativity. The more you protect, the more attached you become. The more attachments you have, the more problems arise. And then you need to protect those new things even more. It's like no matter how much money you make or how high your status is, you never feel it's enough. And so, the cycles continue. Going back to the first part, you'll realize that the true path of awakening lies in discovering the ego, letting go of it, overcoming it, and realizing that you are the observer, a silent, free, and untethered subject. You just need to make a choice to say, "This thorn has been pulled out. This thorn cannot pierce me, the awakened self. It can only pierce the ego that is being observed. And now, I am no longer bothered by past suffering. I am determined to choose to let go, to live a life of freedom and peace. Whatever comes my way, I will face it with a calm mind." The author teaches a technique. If you notice anxiety, insecurity, anger, or sadness arising, don't say anything. Just say one word in your mind, "Hello," and then answer, "I am here." The one who answers is the real you. To overcome the ego and find freedom, you must first let your brain do its proper job. Why is our inner friend so frantic to help us? Why does it say so many negative things? It's because you ask too much of it. You demand that it protect you from all the pain in the world. But in reality, the brain is not as omnipotent as we think. It has no control over the world. It cannot control the weather or other natural forces, nor can it make all the people, places, and things around you change for your sake. You are asking your mind to control the world to solve your internal problems. This is an impossible task. To meet your expectations, the brain has to constantly distort reality, making your perception more and more one-sided and skewed, and your psyche more fragile. And year after year, your energy flow becomes severely blocked. If you want to live in a healthy state, stop asking your mind to do this job. When your brain no longer has to ensure that everyone and everything goes your way, you will automatically find your life to be more wonderful than ever. The job of the mind is to work. Every day, focus on doing what needs to be done. But remember, it doesn't need to protect your inner self, because your inner self is already free. So what should you do? Be still, and then wait for the unease to arise. The author says the price of suffering is freedom. This means that if you want to be free, you must learn to stop protecting yourself from pain. As long as you fear pain, you will try to shield yourself from things that might cause it. If you want to be free, you just need to see pain as a temporary shift in the flow of energy. You don't need to fear rejection, worry about getting sick or someone leaving, or stress about what might go wrong in the future. You cannot spend your whole life avoiding things that haven't even happened. If you fear suffering, everything becomes negative. Eventually, you will only see countless things that could become problems. Do you know how many things can cause you pain and worry? There may be more of them than stars in the sky. If you want to grow and explore life freely, you can't spend your entire life running from things that might make you sad or hurt. Fear is the root of all suffering. As long as there is fear, you still have many thorns blocking your energy flow. Your task is to find the root of your fear. What are you afraid of? Lack? Loss? Disrespect? Loneliness? Or death? There is an example in the book about a dog with an electric collar. When the dog tries to leave the yard, it gets a shock at the edge of the lawn. It feels pain, so it doesn't go out anymore. As a result, the dog can only wander within an invisible boundary all day. But the dog doesn't know that if it could just endure a little bit of pain, it could run into a much larger, freer world. Reflecting on this, aren't we too? Stuck in the virtual maze of life because we are afraid of pain. If this resonates with you, then now is the time to choose to go through that electric shock and break through the barrier of your fate. After that pain, you will surely achieve true freedom. Have you noticed how we spend our entire lives trying to accumulate wealth, buy insurance, and guard against bad things happening? This only binds us further and ultimately robs us of our freedom. The reality is, what is meant to happen will happen. So you end up losing your freedom and facing a lot of pain anyway. So today, you can make a different choice. I know that suffering is inevitable. Therefore, I accept suffering. If it comes, I will experience it, feel it, and observe it. By walking through suffering, I can step into freedom. How do you truly experience life? In the final part, the author talks about how to experience life in an awakened state. It is when you choose to dare to walk the path of unconditional happiness. Many people say, I want to choose happiness, but I'm afraid she'll leave me. I want to choose happiness, but I don't have enough money. I want to choose happiness, but I didn't get the acceptance letter. If you say but, it means you're still thinking, I can't be happy because I don't have this condition. As long as there are conditions, your mind will constantly tempt you to shut down your energy. It says, you don't own a house, so you should be ashamed and feel bad about how others see you. You can't be joyful and happy. You must pressure yourself to achieve all your goals. You see, with conditions, you never truly experience happiness. Unconditional happiness is when you have no money, when you're divorced, when you don't get the job, when you can't buy the house you want, and you can still choose to be happy. Making the choice for unconditional happiness is not easy because you have to overcome your ego, take control of your consciousness, bring it to your energy center, and finally decide to walk the path of spiritual growth without resistance. As Buddhist philosophy often teaches, one must have a mind of non-discrimination. It is a soul that does not resist, that does not want to control. You can simply be present, be here in the now as the observer, and then let energy flow in and out. If you can live consciously with a non-discriminating mind, all the energy within you will automatically flow smoothly. You will be surprised to find that, apart from your own fears and desires, there's almost nothing for you to handle. Life is complicated because of your fears and desires. If you no longer fear or desire something, there is really nothing to deal with. You just need to let life unfold, interacting with it naturally and reasonably. From there, you will feel great joy in silence and balance. This is what it means to truly experience life, to experience energy. The content I've shared with you today is not easy to absorb, but the journey of awakening is always a difficult choice. Faced with the truth about yourself, do you feel more joy or more anxiety? Joy that you can be reborn and awakened, or regret that the dream is over? If you are just an observer and need to let go of all desires, then our dreams of making a lot of money, traveling the world, and enjoying all life has to offer unnecessary? Does it mean you don't have to work hard anymore or enjoy the material world? This book doesn't give a specific answer. But I want to tell you this: strive to work with all your heart, but with a non-discriminating mind, without carrying attachments and fears, and letting go of all negative emotions when facing any suffering in life. Don't worry that you can't do it well. Just start, and your brain and habits will act automatically. Your job is to return to your true self at every moment, in every present instant. Maintain your meditation practice. Say a silent hello and answer in your mind with "I am here." Your awakened self has always been there. I know that now, standing before the truth of your destiny, you might feel like Neo in the movie The Matrix, having to choose between two pills, one red and one blue. One lets you continue dreaming in your comfort zone. The other allows you to awaken but step into the unknown. Neo chose the second pill because he remembered the French writer Albert Camus once said, "What I want right now is not happiness, but to be aware." And you, which pill will you choose? Whatever you decide, no one can take away your freedom of choice. I hope that both you and I can live consciously and return to our true selves. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Give it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to catch the latest videos every week. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.